Shalom, Lord in Christ. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Shabbat to the brothers, or a thumb to the brothers. Shalom, Yahweh Shemar Lathan Hashem Yahweh Shah to the sisters. With the Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge. Start at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Hunter. We're not affiliated with any other Israelite group, nor any other Christian organization. All right? And so, this is the Lashawan Qadash class, all right? If you guys have any questions when it comes to knowing the Hebrew, if you want to know a word or something, if you want to expand or expand your vocabulary and things like that when it comes to reading and writing and speaking the Lashawan Qadash, this is the class to ask your questions and do so. It's very important to learn this language. This is what's going to help you understand the Bible a lot more than you already do. If you're coming into class today, all right, coming into class, all right, and checking in to the Lashawan Qadash class will help you understand the scriptures far better than you do already. The first step was to come to class. The second step was to keep coming to class. The third step, you guessed it, was to keep coming to class. There's no hidden secrets back here. It's not rocket science. You want to understand the Bible? Come to class. You want to understand scriptures? Come to class. Come to class one day of the week. Come to class 2 days out the week. Come to class every day of the week that we have classes. Then you're going to understand the Bible and the scriptures a lot more than you already do now. All right? What you want to do in this truth is you want to grow. You don't want to stay stagnant. Everybody understands where I'm coming from with that, right? You don't want to stay stagnant. You want to grow. You want to excel. You want to keep going forward. Don't backtrack. You understand? You don't want to backtrack in this truth. You don't want to fall behind in this truth. You want to grow. All right? You want to get better at the scriptures. You want to get better at the Hebrew. You want to learn the Sabbath service. You want to learn how to conduct the Sabbath service. You want to know how to do these things. You want to know how to stand shamar, especially if you're a brother. These are things you want to learn when coming into the truth and being in the truth. Just don't stay in one place. Don't be stagnant. You want to keep pushing forward. That's something so important. Don't get left behind. All right? You know what I'm saying? Don't be that kind of brother. All right? So with that being said, for y'all sisters, don't fall back into the world. You understand? Keep coming to class. All right? Keep your head covered. Keep your body covered. Keep your mouth closed. Keep coming to class. Keep learning how to be a solid sister. You understand? Keep coming learning how to be a beautiful Proverbs 31 sister that every sister claims to be. Every sister claims to be Proverbs 31. I'm Proverbs 31. I'm a Proverbs 31 sister. I'm a virtuous woman. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. Listen, that's neither here or there if you believe that you're a Proverbs 31 sister or not. But if you truly want to be a Proverbs 31 sister, keep coming to class. Unless you come into class in the ISUPK, I can't believe anything you say. You talking about I'm a Proverbs 31 sister, that's good and all, but if you're not back here, I don't believe you. You got to prove to me you're a Proverbs 31 sister. You got to be back here first. That's the first step. All right? That's the first step. Anything else beyond that, you're not Proverbs 31. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it real. Nobody sends shots. Some of y'all sisters out there, just keep coming to class. That's the point. All right? The point is for y'all to come to class. You guys get the moral of the story, right? That's the point. All right? Me personally, I'm tired of not seeing people come to class. Come to class. Be in class every single day of the week that we have classes. Don't slack. Come to class. All right? Stay strong. Stay solid. All right? We're living in these end times, man. These times are getting rough. We need this truth. Our people need this truth. And a part of that truth is this language. The part of this truth is our language. All right? Don't take it for granted. Learn how to speak the Hebrew. Learn how to speak the Lashawan Qadash. Don't be a weird Israelite that doesn't know how to speak your language. That's weird. Like think about it. That's weird, right? How do you not know how to speak Hebrew, but you're an Israelite? It doesn't make any sense. The Jews are black. Okay, well, the Jews have a language. Do you speak it? I do. I speak it. All right. Anya Dawabar Halashawan Qadash. I speak Hebrew. Do you? I do. You understand? And we all should. So now, the first thing we want to pick up, Most High in Christ, the first thing we want to get to, let me add this to the screen. All right, you guys see my screen. So, you already know what it is. First things first, let's go over the alphabet. Now, everybody knows the alphabet is something very important. All right, the alphabet is important in our language because our language is a consonant language. And because it's a consonant language, meaning it sounds the same. A lot of our letters and words are going to sound very similar to each other. Well, the sounding of the words are going to sound similar to each other. That's what makes our language a very easy language to understand and to pretty much learn. It's not like when you're learning English and when you put certain letters together, you get different sounds. It's not like that. Hebrew isn't like that. The sound that you see in the alphabet, the sound that you hear, I should say, in the alphabet is the same sound that you're going to hear when you put all these letters together to create words. Then one day create sentences, and one day create paragraphs, and one day create music and create songs, you know, and one day just everyone speaks Hebrew and not English anymore. That's the spirit of the Lord. The Lord doesn't want us to speak English anymore. Y'all do understand that, right? If you are so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American, the Lord does not want you to speak the Lord does not want you to speak English anymore. The Lord does not want you to speak Spanish anymore. The Lord doesn't want you to speak Creole anymore. The Lord doesn't want you to speak the languages of your oppressor. He doesn't want it. He really doesn't want you to do so. He wants you to come back to his laws, statutes, and commandments. He wants you to come back to your culture and come back to our heritage. That's what the Lord wants. You guys get the point? Your language is a part of your culture, your heritage. You understand? These laws were once written in Hebrew. So with that being said, you might want to wake the hell up and start learning this Hebrew. And learn how to say Abba Gada Hawa Zachata Yakala Manasa Ipatza Rashata. You might want to learn how to say it. You might want to be able to spew the alphabet that fluid and that fast. Hey, listen. I'm just saying, y'all may want to do it. That's on, you know what I'm saying? That's on y'all if y'all want to be weird. But, I know nobody in the ISUPK, is weird. We not weird back here, all right? We know the Hebrew. We study the Hebrew. We learn this Hebrew. All right, y'all get. I see y'all out there. Shalom, Officer Kwashat. I see you in the chat. Shalom, shalom, Trooper Kazakia, Salakia. I see you out there. Most High in Christ. Okay, young man Edward. I see you out there. Keep coming to class. Most High in Christ. Shalom, shalom, Yahweh Shema, Alataba, Hashem Yahweh Shai. To La Akwab Ana. All right, Most High in Christ. Everybody in class today. Keep it up. So let's go over this alphabet real quick. So this is your A. This is your Ba. That's your Ba in the Assyrian. That's your Ba in the ancient. This is your Ga. This is your Ga in the Assyrian. This is your Ga in the ancient. This is your Da. Your Da. This is your Da in the Assyrian. This is your Da in the ancient. This is your Ha. This is your Ha in the Assyrian. This is your Ha in the ancient. This is your Wa. This is your Wa in the Assyrian. This is your Wa in the ancient. This is your Za. This is your Za in the Assyrian. This is your Za in the ancient. This is your Cha. This is your Cha in the Assyrian. This is your Cha in the ancient. This is your Ta. This is your Ta in the Assyrian. This is your Ta in the ancient. This is your Ya. This is your ya in the Assyrian. This is your ya in the ancient. This is your ka. This is your ka in the Assyrian. This is your ka in the ancient. Now you see two ka's there, right? Well, there's a ka that you'll see in the beginning or in the middle of a word. Then there's a ka which is to your far left, where the arrow's pointing to. Those are found at the end of a word. Meaning, this is how you know this word is ending with the ka. All right, this is how you know that word in the Assyrian script, I should say, is ending with the ka. You wouldn't know any other way. This is your la. This is your la in the Assyrian. This is your la in the ancient. This is your ma. This is your ma in the Assyrian. This is your ma in the ancient. This is the na. This is your na. Your na in the Assyrian. Your na in the ancient. Same concept. See, the same concept. To the far left. That's how you know these words end with the letter ma, na, ka. The ones that we just went over. This is your sa. This is your sa in the Assyrian. This is your sa in the ancient. And Salakia. I'm a little under the weather, so bear with me, all right? That's your sa in the Assyrian. That's your sa in the ancient. This is your I. This is your I in the Assyrian. This is your I in the ancient. This is your pa. This is your pa in the Assyrian. This is your pa in the ancient. This is your taza. This is your taza in the Assyrian. This is your taza in the ancient. This is your qua. This is your qua in the ancient. It's like this is your qua in the Assyrian. This is your qua in the ancient. This is your ra. This is your ra in the Assyrian. This is your ra in the ancient. Next, this is your sha. This is your sha in the Assyrian. This is your sha in the ancient. And then this is your tha. This is your tha in the Assyrian. This is your tha in the ancient. Now remember, taking notes is everything. Taking notes, very important. Take as much notes as possible. Do not take notes. All right. Take all the notes that you can. All right. Taking notes is the spirit of the Lord. All right. Does anybody know how taking notes is the spirit of the Lord? Anybody want to give it a shot? How is taking notes the spirit of the Lord? Go ahead and put it into the chat. Go ahead. Y'all let me know. How is taking notes the spirit of the Lord? Why y'all get that? I'm going to go ahead and start getting some things out the way. Let's find out. Let's see what we got. Okay. It brings things into remembrance, such as the laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay. I mean, make sure you. Oh, con. Damn right, damn right. Let's get that on. Let's get that up there. Make sure to thumbs up the video and share. The brother brought out something heavy. Make sure you thumbs up and share. Share this to your friends. Share it to your mama, your daddy. All right. Share these classes. Get them in class. What the brother's saying is heavy right there. But okay, the brother said it brings remembrance. It brings things into remembrance, such as the laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay, when I ask taking notes, it's the spirit of the Lord. When I mean when I say how is notes, the spirit of the Lord, meaning, because you're not wrong, by the way. That's a good answer. You're right, but it's not necessarily the law. You don't have to add the law in there. It's just a simple fact that it's for you to remember. It's not necessarily law and statutes and commandments at this point, which is true. Taking notes in general in class is so you can remember these laws and remember what the priests and prophets, the Lord, said for you to do. You're absolutely correct. But so the brother is right. Give the brother a hand. Shuba Kazaki is absolutely correct. The essence of taking notes is to remember, because not all of us have photographic memory, do we? How many of you guys have photographic memory in here? Let me find out. I'm teaching a bunch of geniuses. Let me find out. So y'all, what I'm saying? Let me find out. Y'all got photographic memory? Let me know which one of y'all got photographic memory so I can make some money off y'all real quick. It's a lucky. I'm just joking. I know, so not all of us have photographic memory. Now, I'm sure there's a few brothers and sisters that got some photographic memory in this school. I'm not one of them. That's all I'm saying. I'm not one of them. All right. It may seem like I have photographic memory, but that's because I took notes. Everything that I say to you is because I took notes. I took note of everything that every captain, every general, every captain, every officer above me has said. I took notes on it. Notebooks of things, man. Notes all in my cell phone. You understand? Everything I say, I robbed from somebody else in the school. You may think I'm saying something of my like you thought that all the things I say because I made it up. Nah, y'all wilding if y'all thought that was the case. Salakia, if I could, y'all wilding for that. Nah, this been here since 1969. This this truth in the Bible has been here since ages ago. We ain't saying nothing new, man. We just repeating after the brothers that came before us, and we never let go of it. All right. So the purpose, I should say, of Salakia, of taking notes is just to remember. You can't remember everything, all right? And it's not meant for you to remember everything. That's why the Lord told Moses to write everything. So you don't have to remember. I can keep that there for now. And so now to get into, let's see. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a new verb. Let's do bana. Let's do bana. A new verb is bana. So we're going to go over verb conjugations, all right? But we kind of worked on the present tense already, right? So let's get into like maybe the topic. Y'all want to know the past or the future? I'm gonna pick for y'all though, but I want to see what y'all say. Y'all want the past tense or the future tense today? Let's find out. What y'all want? I'ma still pick it though, but I want to know. Let's see how many of y'all got the spirit of the Lord on y'all. If y'all gonna say what I want to teach today, which is curriculum based. you know, I'm not just doing it because I want to do it, but there is a right way to teach these tenses, and you kind of want to do them in that order, so there's no confusion. You always do the present tense first because it's easier to learn to get you the concept the concept of conjugating verbs. I see you, soldier. Salakia, I can't do both. I'm not gonna be able to do both. All right, that'll be very tough. That'll be very tough to do both. But while y'all get that, so we're gonna use the verb bana today. Does anybody want to take a shot at what bana means? While y'all give me your answers of what tense y'all wanna. The sister said future. Well, I'll be damned. Most high Christ. Future tense is good. The future tense is good. Okay. Anybody else? What y'all want to learn today? And also, the next question is, does anybody know what bana means? We got the verb bana. What is bana? All right, I'm gonna give it to y'all for time's sake. So if y'all don't know what bana means, that's fine. We're gonna know today. So bana meaning to build. That's not how you spell build. All right. Bana meaning to build. All right. Bana meaning to build. All right. Bana meaning to build. So now this is a so now to let you guys know, bana means to build. So now you guys know the verb to build. Now pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Bana is the root word. All right. Bana is the root word. And so now you guys noticed how bana is spelled, right? You see how bana is spelled Banah? Now, of course, that's a ba and a na and a ha. All right. But you guys see Banah. In our language, the ba is a letter, the na is a letter. Oh, so that ba, that na, and that ha is a letter. Okay. But you see how it's not ba na ha? Because in our language, the very last letter, in most cases, the very last letter, that ah sounds gets cut off. Okay, you guys remember that lesson? In most cases, that very last letter gets cut off. So it's ba na and not ba na ha. It's ba na. And so the reason why I'm bringing it up because that ah sound gets dropped off, and now it's ba na and not ba na ha. And I brought it up because that's an important rule to keep in mind. All right, and because that's going to help you see root words when reading the Hebrew. All right, those root words are important. All right, those root words are important. Let me see. Let me see if I can give you an example of these root words real quick. So let's get a scripture. Let's see if we can find a scripture with building it. Now, sometimes what will happen here is what I'm probably going to run into. I almost know what I'm going to run into when I do this because it says, "Let us build us a city." Watch this word in Hebrew be make and to be Aisha and not Bana. I always run into that because sometimes not everything may be a legitimate, well, I would say a legitimate translation, but a lot of these words have different meanings to it, all right, in the Hebrew. So the word for make in Hebrew is Aisha, but one of the words can be, can easily be um, to build. But this may not be the case because I see it right here. Okay. Well, how the hell did I do that? I could never, I would never be able to do something like that again. Okay. So now, so you have Bana, right? So Bana, you see that ba, you see that na, and you see that ha. It's Bana. It's called Bana. All right. If you look at the Strongs, you see how this is Bana, Bana. Like this is how our oppressor is the devil, right? It has the very same pronunciation. Now, now that's not always the case. All right, that's not always the case. And the reason why it's not always the case because when you're studying Hebrew, the words that you're going to look up are going to be spelled and written in a Yiddish format or in a format that's not the ancient text, and it was a way for them to learn the language, and that's not how our language is pronounced, like Yehudi, Yehidi, Badashi, Alehi, Edihu, all that stuff. That's not Hebrew. All right. You'll see like Genesis, they be like Barashid, Elohim, Elohim, Arsi. It's not like that. It's Bara'asha, Bara'a, Alahayim, Wa'ata, Bataza. All right. That's how you would say that. And so in this case, it has the same pronunciation because that's the original pronunciation. That's how it's pronounced. All right. Just like if you look up my name in the Hebrew, it is pronounced Yorash. It's spelled Yorash too to this day. No, not Yarish. No, it's still spelled Yarash. But now, going back, Bana, that's the Strongs, right? Bana meaning to build. Look at the definition. Now it's to build, rebuild, establish, cause to continue, to build, rebuild, to build a house, a family, to be built, to be rebuilt, established, like restored, exiled, made permanent, established, to build up. A childless wife, of childless wife becoming the mother of a family through the children of a concubine. Okay, like these are the different meanings of build. All right. And I want y'all to pay very close attention to this right here. Okay? This has happened. You see how it says of childless wife? Meaning this wife that was childless. She didn't have any children. Becoming the mother of a family through the children of a concubine. Meaning she was still a mother, right? Of the children of another man's wife, of her husband's other wife. All right? You understand? It's in the culture. It's in our language. Our heritage and culture is in our language. If you don't know what a concubine is, it's just referring to a man having more than one wife and many wives. All right? If you guys don't know what a concubine is, it's more so referring to a man having more than one wife. Okay? In a nutshell. It has different meanings, but that's not the class to go. We're not going to get into it. All right? All right? We're not going to get into it. But just to know, a childless wife becoming the mother of a family through the children of a concubine. All right? It didn't say stepmommy. It didn't say stepmom. It said mother. All right? You see how it didn't say father becoming a father of a family because that was never the case. Like we were never supposed to be stepdaddies. Does everybody understand that? Quick lesson. We were never supposed to be stepfathers. We were never supposed to play daddy to another woman's children. All right? That was the Lord did not set that up. But because of these curses, because of our oppression, because of our oppressor, we end up in these situations so we can build up the nation of Israel again. All right? It happens. It happens nowadays. It wasn't supposed to happen because everyone was supposed to have one father. Okay? That's how it was supposed to be. No one was supposed to have different daddies. Mommy wasn't supposed to give birth to children with different daddies. That's unlawful in the Bible. You understand? You were never supposed to have the ability to leave your man to get another man and bring forth a child. That's in the Bible. It's in the Apocrypha. I broke this down maybe a year or two ago. I can break it down for you again one of these days. All right, like a scripture breakdown class. I may give that precept to Quashah, to Officer Quashah, when he's ready. I'll give that precept to you when you're ready, because that's a meat scripture right there. And you're gonna have to break that down astronomically. All right, you're gonna have to be able to break that down really well. All right, I got nothing but faith in you, brother. So now, so here we go. Say, let us build us a city. So Bana. All right. So Bana meaning to build. All right. Now you see how it's not Banaha, it's Bana. Now, next question is, so you guys can remember. You guys remember from last week? What's one of those rules with the ha? When you're adding something to the root word, when you're adding letters to the root word, because when you conjugate verbs, right? When you're conjugating verbs, you're going to be adding different letters to the verb itself. So with that being said, when you add words to, let's say when you add the letters to bana at the end, right? What's the unspoken rule with that ha? What can you do with it? Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. Any of y'all remember that rule? Salakia. Does anybody remember that rule? What rule was there when you put letters at the end of a word that ends with a ha? What's that unspoken rule? Do y'all remember? Y'all type it in if y'all remember. If y'all don't remember, just say I don't remember. But to continue with the breakdown, right? So we're going to do, all right, we're going to do the future tense. All right, we're going to do the future tense today. All right. And so now I want to further explain conjugations is a change of a verb, meaning what the verb's original form is going to be changed. It's not going to stay the same. Now, in some cases, it will stay the same in our language. And sometimes in other languages too, the verb will stay in its same form. And even though it's being spoken in the past, future, or present. All right. Okay. Like for an example, the word eat. Okay, the word eat in English, of course, is eat. You're consuming something, right? And so if you want to put it into the present tense, you would say, I'm eating. That's a conjugation. You changed the word. You added ing at the end. Eating. All right. The conjugation for the past tense for eat is what? Ate. I ate something. So the E-A-T becomes A-T-E. I ate something. That's not a coincidence, by the way. Just letting you know. All right. So, I ate something. All right. That's the past tense. Then you say, now in English, to conjugate in the future tense, there's no real, okay, there is a conjugation for the future tense in English, but it's not like how other languages do when the verb itself changes. All right. And remember, conjugations is the change of a verb. That's it. That's a conjugation in a nutshell. In English, you would add will eat. That W-I-L-L, the word will in front of the verb itself is the conjugation. But you see how the verb itself, eat, did not change. Well, you will have that in Hebrew too sometimes. All right. Dealing with the past and future. Mostly the past tense. Okay, mostly the past tense. I believe the future tense, if I'm not mistaken, the majority of the future tense, you're changing the verb. In the past tense, I know for sure there are times where there's no change in the verb and it stays the same. Like when you're using hawa'a, it stays the same. All right. So now, also, let's see what I got. If y'all remember, okay, you don't remember. All right. So to jump back on that, the unspoken rule is you can drop the ha and then just continue with the words at the end, and I'll show y'all. All right, I'm gonna give it to y'all, of course. All right, and it was right here too. I left it up there to see. You see how it's hawaya and that ha is still there, or you could say hawaya and that ha is no longer there. There you go. It was on the screen for y'all if y'all didn't know. All right, but these will be changing, by the way. These are going to be changing. So now conjugating verbs, right? Okay, when you're conjugating verbs, it's the change of a verb, all right? And all verb conjugations are based off of what? Anybody remember? What are verb conjugations always based off of? Can anybody tell me? What are all verb conjugations based off of? These are things you have to remember. You can't just not remember these things. All right? Like these are things you want to take note on, right? What are all verb conjugations based off of? If you don't know this, then you're not going to be able to conjugate the verb. You're not going to know how to conjugate it because every last blank has its own particular conjugation. Does anybody remember? What do you have to have in order to know the conjugation? Doesn't matter if it's present, doesn't matter if it's past tense, doesn't matter if it's the future tense. What do you have to have in order to make the conjugation? Anybody remember? All right, I give it to y'all for time's sake, while I'm also getting everything prepared. So, what you have, right here. Everything is based off of your subject pronoun. Keep that in mind. Remember, everything is based off of your subject pronoun. So you have to know subject pronouns. Remember, I explained to you guys that you guys have to put this into your notes. All verb conjugations are based off of subject pronouns. You cannot conjugate any of your sentences or conjugate any of your verbs, I should say. You cannot conjugate any of your verbs unless you know your subject pronouns. So this is a subject pronoun. You got anya, meaning I or I am. You got ata, which means you. You got hawa, which is he. You got haya, which is she. You got anaknawa, which is we. You got a thumb, which is you plural, in the masculine for you all. You got a thun, which is you plural, in the feminine for you all or y'all. You have ham, which is they, in the masculine form. And you have han, which is they, in the feminine form. All right? These are your subject pronouns. If you do not know your subject pronouns, of course, you need to learn your subject pronouns naturally. But make sure you take notes. Salakia, will someone please type the phrase at the bottom of the screen in the chat so I see it too as well? Which phrase, soldier? Which phrase are you looking at, Salakia? What are you referring to? Salakia, will someone please type the phrase at the bottom of the screen in the chat? I can't see it too well. Which phrase, Salakia? What phrase you're referring to? Let me know. But back to that, everything is based off of your subject pronouns. So you need to know your subject pronouns when it comes to conjugations. All right. All right. Whatever it says across the bottom of the screen. Okay, Khan, don't worry about what's at the bottom right now because that is subject to change. It's literally subject to change now because I'm about to get into it. I'm about to give y'all the first conjugation. But what you see is what you see at the bottom is Hawaya. That's what you see. All right. So that's what you see on the board. That's the phrase Hawiyah, meaning to be. All right. So let's get back to it. So now, let's see. First subject pronoun we're going to get, Salakia. And let's do it in a color that we can all see. So let's put it in the ancient script. So you got Anya. It's pronounced Anya. Let's change that real quick. We're gonna make that red so it sticks out. Put a na right there, because that's a na. And then we're gonna put a ya right there because that's a ya. And so that's your subject pronoun. Now remember, everything is based off of your subject pronoun. All right. Let's get Salakia. I'm doing the wrong thing. So we're going to write out Bana in the Hebrew. This is the ancient that I'm writing first. All right, you got Bana. You got so Bana. That's the Bana in the ancient. That's the Bana in the Assyrian. All right, that's what your Bana looks like in the ancient, and that's what your Bana looks like in the Assyrian. Are you on the bar, soldier? That's what. And so now, since everything is based off of your subject pronouns, this is what it would look like conjugated. This is your I. This is your ba. This is your na. Then this is your ha. now. Ah, that's your ah right there. That is. That's your ba. Okay. I keep doing that. That's your ba. It changes colors on me. Okay. Slack it 1 second. All right. All right. Let's continue backspace. All right. I got to change the color. So like about that. So this is your ba. This is your na. And this is your ha. So now this is your ah, your ba, your na, and your ha. So of course this is the same. Your subject pronoun is the same. You have anya. This is what it looks like in the English format. Anya, meaning I or I am. So anya is the subject pronoun to say I or I am. So remember, anya is the subject pronoun to say I or I am. And now what you have here, which is what we're going to get, is the conjugation. We're going to get the conjugation. The conjugation. You have a, ba, na equals will, build. Meaning this is what's going to happen in the future. Abana, 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 meaning will build. So if you want to say I will build something, you would say anya abana, anya abana. So the rule of thumb when it comes to conjugating verbs is you want to memorize these things because you can, for an example, the verb itself doesn't have to be bana. You can put any verb in its place as long as you put a in front of that verb. It will always mean will build or will love or will hate or will run or will eat or will skip or will ring, whatever it is always going to be that. All right, anya abana. So every time you put a in front of a verb, in most cases, it is a future tense conjugation. Now, in some cases, it won't be a future tense conjugation. It can literally sometimes I in front of a verb can mean I. And so let's say abana is a word you see in the scriptures. It can mean I build, or it can say I will build. All right, just for future references. But that's the only issue you may run into. All right, most cases you won't see that. You'll see ashamar, or you'll see what else you'll see? Um, ashamar, amar, meaning he said. Um, I mean, sorry, that's Yashamar. Or I said, but you won't really see that. All right, 1 second, Salaki. Salaki. So now that's the conjugation. All right, you always put an I in front of the banal. All right, that's the conjugation based off of the subject pronoun ana. Make sure you put this into your notes. You're going to want to remember this. You don't want to forget it. You don't want to leave it behind. You don't want to forget about it. You don't want to lose it. You want to take these notes and commit it to memory. All right. So anya abana is how you would say I will build something. All right. Bana meaning to build. All right. Bana meaning to build. Bana meaning to build. Abana meaning to will build something like in the future. Salaki. So next, we're going to get next we're going to get the subject pronoun atha. I think it'd be neater than that. Looks out of the ordinary with me, so like, yeah. Let me make it a little neater for y'all. So we got atha. It's a little better. So you have the verb atha. All right. Anybody remember what atha means? In the live chat, does anybody remember what atha means? Anybody remember what atha means? Anybody remember? It says, Salakia, can you do a sentence for us using the Hebrew word build? Absolutely. All right, absolutely. I will. Does anybody remember what atha means? Correct. Atha means you. All right, atha means you. Ata means you. So that's your subject pronoun. Now remember, all right, that's not what I want to do. So now, ata meaning you. That's your subject pronoun. Everything is based off of your subject pronoun. All of your conjugations are going to be based off of your subject pronoun. Keep that in mind. And so to also keep in mind with the future tense, I want y'all to correlate future with front, future with front, future with front. You hear those two F's? Future front, future front. Now you're wondering why. You're wondering why I'm saying future front. It's a good way to remember that all the conjugations in the future tense, it's always going to have something in front of it. There's always going to be a letter in front of the verb, all right, in order to conjugate in the future tense. Once we go through all the conjugations in the future tense, you're going to notice you're going to notice that majority of those letters are in front. Now there are some in the back of them, but for sure every conjugation has something in front. All right, for the future tense, the majority of them, if not all of them, to my recollection. So now in this case, we got tabana. All right, tabana. So this is your ta. That's your ba. That's your ba. That's your na. And of course, that's your ha. Now, now you have tabana. So now you have tabana, meaning you will build. All right. So I want you to also pay attention to root words. So now, what would be the root word here? What would you be looking for? What's the root word in this case? Does anybody remember a root word? Oh, that's a good question. So if you added in front of ata, that means will you? La that will not mean will you. And the reason why is ata is a subject pronoun, and you cannot conjugate subject pronouns. You can only conjugate you can only conjugate verbs. So for an example, give me an example how you want to say will you. Give me a full sentence in will you, and I'll get it for you. All right. Don't make it crazy hard. What I mean by not crazy hard. Don't make it crazy long, because our words in Hebrew can get very lengthy. All right. But if you give me like a simple sentence of will you this, with like how do you want to say will you? That's a good question. How would you say will you? Will you give me a push? Will you be on time? So now you're asking, so now, okay, so now you're asking a question. Will you give me a push? So now good, that's good. Let's get that sentence. All right. Will you give me a push? All right. Most High in Christ. So now remember, everything is still based on your subject pronoun. Does everybody remember that? Everything will always be based on your subject pronoun. So all you would really do, all right, 1 second, get this real quick. It's like it, bear with me, still feeling very under the weather, but I'll be too wild. I'll be too wild though. Shalom, Cap. Yahba Shashabakata. All right. So now to give you an example, perfect. So we're going to get the sister sentence, the sister sentence. If we get to it too, I'll give you the brother sentence as well. All right. So if I added, will you give me a push? All right, Most High in Christ. And so now, remember, everything is based off of your subject pronoun. So in this case, we're going to be using you because you is a subject pronoun. So let's go over here and let's just reset that. We're gonna reset it. We're gonna clear everything from there. And so now, so let me see. What's the sister sentence again? Will you give me a push? Awesome. So now this is what you're gonna have. In this case, you have a ta. You always get into a habit when you first learn the language and get into the habit of putting subject pronouns within your sentence in your sentences. All right. It's good practice. It's very good practice. And the reason why it's such good practice because not everyone may be able to not put subject pronouns and just have the conjugated verb to understand what you're saying. So it's very good practice to put your subject pronouns in the sentence. So you have ata, all right? You have ata. Everyone knows ata means what? Ata means you. We have ata. Then we're going to have the. We have the. So ata meaning you, will you. All right. All right. Almost there. Just bear with me. All right. So now, so now, here we go. So this is how. Now, of course, I'm going to write um, everything correct, and I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna break it down. So the sister asked a good question. Will you give me a push? So this is an example of will you give me a push? And I'm gonna break it down completely so we understand. Now, of course, this sentence as you see on the board, we're not there yet, but I'm going to give you the context of how to understand everything. You're going to understand some things right away, it's lucky. Then you're not going to understand some things as in right now, depending on how much studying you have done over time. So the first thing you have is right here. We know ata is you. All right. Ata is you. All right. Ata is you. So first things first, you want to label. First things first, you want to label is the who you're talking to. All right. You're talking to the person. You're talking to you. Okay. You're talking to you. All right. Let me see. Um. Let me see. Let me see. Um, Let me see. Mm, 1 second. God. Let me see. Mm, got da, da, so now when you see this dabana, right? Let me see. Nah. Here we go. So you're ata, right? This is who you're talking to. This is your subject pronoun. Now subject pronoun, your subject pronoun, okay, your verb is always conjugated based off of your subject pronoun. So in a nutshell, let's say this ata was not here. If you just had the bana, it would mean you will or you will. Will you or you will. It would mean either or. All right. Let me see. Would Nagak would Nagak Nawa be push us? Correct. In um if you right. Well, technically, okay, us is a object pronoun. Okay, so us is a object pronoun. And so real quick to answer that question, you see where I have ya at? All right, let's say the nagak was in place of nathan, you would add Noah here, af Noah, because it's an object pronoun. And so because it's a pronoun, it's a direct object. And because it's a direct object, you have to have the af there. So that y between the af, that still pronounces af. You would have to go back into the lessons of af. But let's get but that's the part that I'll say some brothers may know, some sisters may know based on how much studying they do. This is the part that I was mentioning that y'all may not know, and maybe this part. All right. So you have ata, your ata is you. But let's say you don't have your subject pronoun here and you just have ta bana. Because there's a ta in front of the bana, you know that this still is saying will you or you will build. You will you build or you will build. Now our language is our language is it's very plain and it's very spiritual and it's very slangish, all right? Well, it's slang. So context is everything. You kind of want to emphasize. Okay, think of Spanish. Spanish is perfect in this case. You have to make it seem like you're asking a question. All right? Does that make sense? In Hebrew, you have to imply or make it seem like you're asking the question. You got to change up your voice a little. Like if you're saying, Tabana, Nathan, Afya, Nagak, it's like a Nagak. No one's really going to know you're asking them a question. You're going to have to make it sound like a question. You're going to be like, Tabana, Nathan, Af, Nagak. You're going to have to make it sound like a question. Does that make sense to you, Aqua? All right, or does that make sense to everybody when I'm breaking it down slowly and surely? And so you have your ata. So in a nutshell, it would be ata ta bana. That ta bana meaning will you or you will build. It means it right there. All right, it means it right there. Then you have nathan. Now, here we go. Nathan is a verb. Nathan is a verb. Keep in mind, Nathan, all right, doesn't have to be conjugated. Okay? You only have to conjugate one verb in a sentence unless you need multiple conjugations. Does that make sense? If multiple conjugations are needed, then you can conjugate more than one verb. But once you see more than one verb conjugated, it's not that it's one whole, okay, it is one whole sentence, but there's breaks in between. That's why you have your commas. Does everybody understand that? That's why when you translate certain sentences or scriptures from the Hebrew to the English and you see those commas and you're wondering, well, why do they have those commas there? Why is that punctuation there? It's because it's a break within the sentence itself and it's talking about something else or adding on to something, and so that's how you would know if there's a comma, or of course context based. You'll know if a semicolon goes there or a colon goes there. Not to get into punctuation. This is not so much a lesson on punctuation itself, but that's just the basis of it. You don't have to conjugate the nathan unless you know for sure that you're adding more to the sentence and there has to be a pause in there. Like if I was saying ata bana and I stop and I say the nathan afya nagak, 9 times out of 10 that nathan might be something completely different. I'm talking about something different, or I could be talking about the same thing but on a separate level, but it is one whole sentence, but there's a comma there, a colon there, a semicolon there. Of course, you're going to want to study the English. You want to study the English language and punctuation when you get there, of course. I mean, all right. Of course, we know the English language back here, and we know a little bit about punctuation. You learn punctuation. Like in church, not everyone pays attention to punctuation. All right. But we pay attention to punctuation back here. So you have ata, ta, bana, nathan. The nathan meaning to give. Nathan is the Hebrew word to give. Then you have afya. Well, you see that afya, that means salakia. I think I erased it. It means me. That afya meaning me. Now, the reason why it's afya because it's an object pronoun used in conjunction with af. Af itself is not a word, but that ya at the end of this af means me because it's an object pronoun. So you won't say nathanya, you would say nathan afya, because you're talking about yourself and you are the direct object within the sentence. So with that being said, you would say afya, nathan afya, because you want something to be given to you. You're the direct object in that case. You would say afya. All right. In most cases, you would really never say nathanya. All right. If you do, I would understand what you're saying, but it's not grammatically correct. Does everybody understand that? You can say nathanya, but it's not grammatically correct. All right. So it's best not to say it at all and get more practice using ah, because you're going to see af throughout the Bible. So you have ata, dabana, nathan, afya. Then you have nagak. Nagak meaning to push. So nagak meaning to gore or to push out the way, whatever the case may be. So if you want to say, so the sister had a good question when she said, so if I add in front of, if I add an I in front of ata, that means will you? No, because of course that's a subject pronoun and you cannot conjugate subject pronouns. But now you can still add the tha bana, the tha in front of the bana, and it'll still give you the same concept of will you give me a push? And of course, reading it on the board, how to ask someone, will you give me a push? You would say ata da bana nata nafya nagak. Does everybody get? Does everybody understand that? Did I explain that well enough? So ata da bana nata nafya nagak. Now this is very advanced. All right, but I wanted to write it this way so you guys can understand. But this is a advanced sentence being created on the board. That is an actual sentence in the Hebrew. All right, ata da bana natan afya nagak. That's an actual sentence in Hebrew. That's a sentence. So if you ever want to say that to somebody, you can, and you most likely would have to break it down to them, but you can do it. That's brotherhood, that's sisterhood. Y'all want to speak more Hebrew to each other. So ata da banana tana afya nagak. Or you can say ata da banana tana afya nagak. Make it sound like a question. Let me know if I answered your sister, Aqua. And also let me know, anyone in class, if everyone's following along. Does everybody understand where I'm coming from? Most High in Christ. Now, of course, the more you guys come to class, the better, and you guys are going to understand the Bible just a little bit more. All right, y'all got to understand it just a little bit more. Most High in Christ, Most High in Christ. So you guys get that. Now remember the fundamentals. I didn't go over it. I didn't go over the fundamentals today because I wanted to get into conjugations. But real quick, remember your object pronouns and all these things. Like, for an example, your this is fundamental. Your how to use is used in conjunction with direct objects. Examples, personal pronouns, right? And like the door, the house. Like when you put the in front of a noun, that becomes an object. That becomes that becomes a direct object. All right, personal pronouns. Those are your object pronouns I was just discussing. All right, now you have become indirect object. Af will always be before the direct object, no matter what. So that's why you see the af ya, because that ya is, let's bring it home. That ya is an object pronoun, which is a personal pronoun. And so here's your is this the object pronouns? Let me see. I may have clicked on possessive pronouns. I clicked on possessive pronouns, but same concept. Let me go to the object pronouns. Salaki, bear with me. Did I click on it again? I don't think I clicked on it again. I clicked on it again. I said it that way because I knew I clicked on it again. Here we go. So now you have your object pronouns right here. And see that? Here's your ya in the Syrian. Here's your ya in the ancient. Your ya is me. Object pronouns will always be at the end of a verb. Okay? Meaning it comes at the back, it comes in the after the verb. All right? You would rarely use it in conjunction, like at the end of a verb. unless you become the direct object, when in most cases you are the direct object when using me. Okay? You have become the direct object. And you, any personal pronoun, which is an object pronoun. You guys get the point? Okay? So that yeah that you see, here we go, bear with me real quick. So that yeah that you see in the back of ah means me. So ah yeah, because you're the direct object. Does everybody get that point? Does everybody get what I'm putting down? And so that's why it says when you go back to ah, right, the lesson on ah, how to use ah. Ah is used in conjunction with direct objects. Examples, personal pronouns, all right, and the. Ah will always be before the direct object no matter what. That's why the ya was in at the end, because the ah has to come before the ya, before the direct object, because that ya, meaning me, is a direct object. All right. And personal pronouns with ah. Read it and weep. Here you go. You see it? I have lessons on how to use ah. Personal pronouns with ah. All right. You have me, meaning af ya. You, af ka. Him, af wa. Her, af ha. Us, af nawa. You, plural masculine, af kam. You, plural feminine, af kan. Them, masculine, af ma. Them, feminine, af na. These are examples how to use af in conjunction with personal pronouns. Personal pronouns with af. Okay? So, of course, this is a little advanced. Not how to use af. I mean, okay. How to use af, I wouldn't say is advanced, but it is something you have to know. Because when you read the Hebrew, you're going to think the word is saying atah when it's actually saying af. And how do you know the difference between af and atah? There's a ha at the end of it. All right? There's a ha at the end of atah, meaning you. Af, there is no ha. So meaning it's pronounced and not atah. It's pronounced af. All right? Which is a signifier to let you know that something is a direct object within that sentence. All right? Everybody understand? Okay. Now, of course, if you guys have a question like, oh, well, what if you see af with a ha at the end of it? Well, there'll be a wa between the there will be a wa, which like you see here, a wa between the and the tha, and it's just connected together, and that's let you know that lets you know that it's still ha and not a tha. Okay, everybody understand that? So this is a little advanced, but you guys are surely capable of understanding. All right, Most High in Christ. So now y'all know how to say an actual sentence in the Lashawan Qadash. And I want you guys to get kind of familiar with trying to create sentences on your own. And also, next, don't be afraid to put your sentences in the live chat and ask me, is this the right way to say it? Because I'll let you know if it's the wrong or the right way, and I'll correct it. I'll say, this is how you want to say that. This is actually how it should be written. You want to put this word over here. Nah, you don't want to put that word there. You want to put it right there. I'll break that down for you in class. That's not an issue. That shows me that y'all really trying to speak this Hebrew. God speaks Hebrew. The Israelites speak Hebrew. I thought y'all were Israelites. Hey, wait, time out. Y'all Israelites, right? Khan. So y'all speak Hebrew. Don't be afraid to, put that stuff in the live chat so we can learn from each other and start structuring sentences and get better and better and better at it. You know what I'm saying? It's going to come to a point where we're going to start speaking it fluently, putting it in songs, and start rapping with it and singing with it. It's going to be dope. That's all I can say. It's going to be great. It's going to be the kingdom of heaven. I pray you understand. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I pray you understand. All right. So with that, I say Shalom Israel, with the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge started at 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of Junior Honda. Shalom.